There are games that are true masterpieces, but over time have ended up hidden in the shadows of the gaming world. Who hasn't found themselves wondering how some amazing games were forgotten, while so many others continue to shine? Well, today we're going to revisit 18 of these hidden gems, single-player games that made their mark, but many of us have left behind. If you're the type who loves rediscovering unique games, with engaging stories and out-of-the-ordinary gameplay, this video is for you. There are many legendary games here, and I bet you want to play them again, or maybe even for the first time. This is Jax here, and if you're new around here, welcome to the Play Hunters channel, where I bring daily content so you don't miss a single detail of the gaming universe. And if you could subscribe to help me grow, I'd be really happy. Gamer to gamer. Kicking off the list in style, we have Gaiden, a gaming classic that, despite being memorable, has fallen into oblivion for many people. The gameplay is electrifying and highly challenging, something that makes any player feel like they're on a true ninja journey. With frenetic combat and bosses that demand sharp strategy, the game forces the player to hone their skills at every new obstacle. What impresses most is the combat mechanics, which allow you to perform agile movements, dodge, and attack with precision. In each battle, the tension is palpable, especially when facing the most difficult enemies, which require quick reflexes and good control of the character. For those who enjoy games that really test limits, this is a full course. The sense of victory after overcoming a difficult sequence is indescribable, a real stimulus to keep playing. The settings vary a lot, taking you from dark streets to trap-filled castles. The replay factor is incredible, especially for those who like to revisit challenges and seek better performance. This is one of those games that if you've forgotten, it's time to relive. Next up, we have Alice: Madness Returns, a game that plunges the player into a twisted and dark version of Wonderland. The plot is intense and filled with symbolism, presenting an Alice who deals with psychological issues while exploring grim and enigmatic settings. The dark atmosphere and artistic design are striking, offering a unique visual experience that perfectly complements the narrative. The gameplay is marked by dynamic and challenging combat, where each weapon has its own attack style and strategy. You can't forget how engaging it is to explore the different worlds, full of puzzles and challenges that keep the game's pace exciting. It's the kind of game that makes you want to keep playing just to discover the next bizarre setting and the stories it tells. The atmosphere is so immersive that you easily get lost in the layers of insanity and mystery. The enemies are as diverse as the environments, requiring the player to constantly adapt. It's an adventure that holds you from start to finish. In third place, we have Brutal Legend, a true tribute to rock and heavy metal. From the very first minute, it's like diving into a universe created from the most iconic album covers of the genre. The story is full of humor and sarcasm, keeping the player entertained in every dialogue. The protagonist faces this adventure with attitude, while an epic soundtrack sets the pace for battles and exploration. The highlight is the unique blend of gameplay that combines action and real-time strategy. The battles are intense, requiring precise hits using a powerful guitar, as well as several devastating musical abilities. The open world is a show of its own, full of references to rock culture, an irresistible invitation to exploration. The visual style offers a fully immersive and original gameplay. It's a game that breaks traditional patterns and captivates fans of action and heavy music, delivering something unexpected and full of personality. In fourth place comes Twisted Metal, a game that redefined the concept of vehicular combat in games. Absolute chaos takes over the screen as you drive insane vehicles equipped with an arsenal of weapons ready to cause maximum destruction. Each vehicle has its own combat style, bringing variety to the matches and encouraging the player to experiment with different battle strategies. The action is fast and frenetic, requiring quick reflexes to dodge attacks and counterattack precisely. Exploring maps filled with traps and secrets adds an air of unpredictability to each match. And the story mode, with its dark cutscenes and engaging narrative, adds depth to a game that, at first glance, might seem like pure action. The visuals and soundtrack heighten the sense of chaos, immersing the player in an almost post-apocalyptic atmosphere. It's impossible not to have fun with the amount of destruction that can be caused in such a short time. For those who enjoy fast-paced action and unique mechanics, this is a full course. In fifth place, we have the Saboteur, a gem in the gaming world that mixes action and exploration in a wartime setting. Set in Nazi-occupied Paris during World War II, the game takes a bold approach by combining an open map full of missions with an engaging narrative and a unique visual style. The highlight is the use of colors, where areas dominated by enemies are shown in shades of gray, coming to life as the player progresses in liberating the city. The gameplay is diverse, allowing the player to tackle missions in different ways, whether through direct action using weapons and explosives, or opting for a stealthier approach, sneaking through the shadows. The sense of freedom is immense, as the player can explore Paris at will, sabotaging enemy structures and facing unpredictable challenges. Every corner of the city holds something new, enhancing immersion and the desire to keep moving forward. The constant tension, combined with the ability to move freely in a hostile environment, makes each mission a test of skill and strategy. It creates moments of pure adrenaline and carves out a unique space for those seeking action with a touch of an engaging narrative and a differentiated setting. Next, we have Bayonetta 2, a game that took frenetic action to a new level. With fluid and highly dynamic combat, the game features an elegant and full of possibilities fighting system, where every move is a dance of attacks and dodges. The feeling of controlling the character is extremely satisfying, especially when performing devastating combos that leave any enemy in pieces. The fast-paced rhythm is accompanied by spectacular scenarios that change constantly, creating breathtaking battles. It's impossible not to be impressed by the gigantic bosses that appear throughout the story, each requiring different strategies to be defeated. Additionally, the variety of available weapons adds an extra touch to the gameplay, keeping the player always excited about the challenges. Each new encounter brings a wave of adrenaline, combined with the soundtrack that draws you even more into the game. The precision of the controls and the fluidity of the movements make this game a reference when it comes to combat and style. A true explosion of action for those seeking intense and glamorous fights. In seventh place, we have Prototype, which brings a sense of freedom and almost limitless power. Set in an urban chaos-filled environment, the game allows the player to take on the role of a character capable of transforming his body into true weapons. From running up building walls to devastating hordes of enemies with crushing blows, every action offers a sense of dominance over the environment. The gameplay is marked by visceral and intense combat, where fluid movements and a variety of abilities ensure a spectacle in every confrontation. One cannot forget the moments when it is possible to disguise oneself among enemies, adding strategy amidst the frantic brawls. This makes the game more dynamic, as the player can switch between brutal attacks and stealthy approaches depending on the situation. The open world is a true playground for destruction, with the city reacting to the chaos the player creates. Missions range from epic battles to dizzying chase scenes, keeping the action constant. An intense gameplay for those who like games that offer overwhelming powers and gameplay full of possibilities. In 8th place, Crysis appears as a true landmark in gaming, especially when it comes to graphics and gameplay. Set on a tropical island, the player is placed in a visually stunning world, with details so realistic that it became a benchmark for measuring the power of PCs at the time. But the game goes far beyond its visuals, offering a tactical combat gameplay where creativity and approach is key. The big star here is the advanced technology of the suit, which grants special abilities. From temporary invisibility to super strength, each ability provides a range of possibilities for facing enemies. If you prefer direct confrontation, heavy weapons do the job, but you can also opt for a stealthy approach, sneaking through the shadows of the dense forest. This freedom to adapt the style of play turns each mission into a new challenge. The dynamic environments, combined with weather effects, further enhance the sense of immersion. Enemies react intelligently, forcing the player to think strategically about every move. It's a game that combines action and strategy, constantly challenging the skills of those who like to feel in control of a true battlefield. In 9th place, we have Killzone Shadowfall, a game that impresses with its cinematic atmosphere and jaw-dropping graphics. Set in a dystopian future, the game creates a dense and dark universe where the tension between two enemy factions sets the pace of the narrative. The futuristic setting is complemented by grandiose environments, from high-tech cities to dense forests, all with an impressive level of detail. The gameplay mixes intense shootouts with elements of strategy, offering the player different ways to approach combat. The use of futuristic weapons and gadgets adds layers to the gameplay, allowing the player to adapt to each situation. Whether in frantic battles against mass enemies or in moments of pure stealth, the action is always dynamic and engaging. Another strong point is the enemy AI, which responds unpredictably, keeping the player constantly alert. This mix of action and tactics creates an immersive game rhythm where every choice can change the course of the mission. For those who enjoy a shooter full of nuances and a rich setting, this is a sure choice. In 10th place comes Deadpool, a game that takes humor and fourth wall breaking to extreme levels. From the start, it stands out for its comedic approach, with a protagonist who doesn't hold back and gets involved in utterly absurd situations. The game makes a point of reminding you that it's here to be fun, mixing unrestrained action with sharp jokes and sarcastic comments at every new stage. The gameplay is an intense combination of melee combat and shootouts, where the player can switch between swords and firearms to take on enemies. The movements are agile, and the combos are fluid, making every fight exciting. The variety of scenarios and insane situations keeps the gameplay far from monotonous, always throwing something unexpected your way. What makes this adventure unique is the protagonist's charisma, who breaks conventional game rules, talks directly to the player, and makes jokes about everything around him. Every moment is a surprise, bringing an irreverent touch to the action genre and making it clear that fun is the focus here. Next, we have Metal Gear Rising, which sets itself apart from other games in the franchise by betting on a frenetic pace and stylish melee combat. While the rest of the series is known for its stealth and tactical approach, this game dives headfirst into unrestrained action, putting the player in control of a character with superhuman abilities. The combat mechanics are built around quick movements and devastating combos that turn each battle into a true spectacle. The big differential is the free cutting system, where the player can slice enemies with impressive precision. This allows for different tactics during combat, as you have total control over the blows delivered. The variety of environments and challenges keeps the game exciting, constantly forcing the player to adapt. Set in a futuristic universe, it puts the player in control of a character with superhuman abilities, capable of performing precise and devastating cuts. The combat mechanics are fluid, centered on quick movements and combos that make each battle a spectacle in its own right. The soundtrack is a show in itself, accompanying the action with intense music that gets anyone pumped. The boss battles are especially memorable, requiring quick reflexes and strategy to be defeated. It's the kind of game that pulses with adrenaline and doesn't give you a moment to breathe. In 12th place comes Bulletstorm, a game unafraid to embrace chaos and irreverence. Forget the conventions of traditional shooting games. Here, the focus is on creativity in eliminating enemies in ways as brutal as they are stylish. The scoring mechanics reward the player for using the environment to their advantage, shooting, kicking, and launching enemies into the most unlikely traps. The gameplay is marked by a mix of agile movements and a varied arsenal, ranging from powerful firearms to an energy leash that lets you pull and hurl enemies with force. All this makes each encounter a spectacle of destruction, keeping the player always entertained and challenged to try new ways to overcome the adversaries. The sense of impact with each action is something that truly grabs your attention. The setting is a futuristic world full of dangers, creating an ideal environment for the unrestrained action the game offers. The story unfolds amid this destruction, filled with biting humor and memorable characters, which adds a special touch to the fast-paced experience. A full course for those looking for action without limits and guaranteed fun. In 13th place, we have Vanquish. Unlike traditional cover shooters, it encourages an aggressive style, with high-speed slides and acrobatic movements that make the player feel like they're in a true action spectacle. The futuristic setting contributes to the electrifying atmosphere, taking combat to a frantic level. The highlight lies in the combat system, which allows you to switch between various weapons while the protagonist moves at an impressive speed. The battles are extremely dynamic, forcing the player to think and act quickly, using elements of the environment to protect and counterattack. This relentless pace makes the gameplay unique, keeping the heart racing in every confrontation. Moreover, the graphics and visual effects enhance the sci-fi vibe, while the soundtrack intensifies the sense of urgency and adrenaline. The enemies present different attack patterns, requiring strategy and sharp reflexes to overcome the challenges. An innovative and electrifying gameplay that has secured its place in the world of action games. In 14th place, we have Noire, a game that immerses the player in a criminal investigation environment in the 1940s. With a carefully crafted noir atmosphere, the game stands out for its narrative approach and realistic visuals. You assume the role of a detective, tasked with solving a series of cases through crime scene exploration, evidence gathering, and intense interrogations. The interrogation system is one of the game's most striking parts. The facial capture technology allows you to analyze character expressions, making each conversation a real challenge to identify lies and inconsistencies. The richness of details and character expressions forces the player to interpret glances, nervous smiles, and even tics, turning each interrogation into a psychological puzzle. This dynamic of reading human emotions brings a unique level of depth to the investigation, requiring attention to the smallest details. It's a unique immersion that holds your attention from start to finish. Continuing, we have Castlevania, Lords of Shadow 2, set in a dark, fantasy-filled world. With grandiose settings and an impressive artistic style, the game takes the franchise to a new dimension, smoothly combining exploration and combat. The plot involves an intense journey, with elements that explore the myth of vampires and their internal struggles. The gameplay is a standout, offering fast-paced and versatile combat. With a variety of weapons and abilities, the player can perform powerful combos and dodge enemy attacks, keeping the battles dynamic. Environmental exploration is also essential, with hidden secrets and areas that become accessible as new abilities are acquired, encouraging deep and engaging gameplay. The dark visuals and gothic atmosphere enhance the immersion, making each setting feel like part of a nightmare. Additionally, the game uses cinematic elements to tell its story, with breathtaking action scenes and visual effects. It's an adventure that challenges the player to face dangers and uncover the secrets of a universe filled with mystery and power. In 16th place, we have Spec Ops, a game that surprised many with its serious and complex approach to the horrors of war. Unlike conventional shooters, it focuses not only on action, but also on telling an intense and emotional story where the player's choices carry weight and consequences. The setting in a sandstorm-devastated Dubai adds a climate of desolation that permeates the entire game. The gameplay is marked by intense shootouts and dynamic environments that require quick decisions, while the narrative involves you in moral dilemmas and questions about the nature of violence. The combat system is efficient and accommodates different styles, whether using cover and long-range weapons or opting for close-quarters confrontations. However, it is in the plot and moments of psychological tension that the game differentiates itself, leading the player to question their actions and choices. The game's visuals, with its contrast between Dubai's ruined luxury and the traces of destruction, deepen the sense of chaos. The dark soundtrack and convincing character performances complete the immersion, creating a game that goes beyond entertainment and becomes a reflection on the impact of war. In 17th place, we have Infamous, a game that puts you in the role of a superhuman in a metropolis full of challenges. The city serves as a true testing ground for the impressive powers you acquire, allowing for experiences ranging from gliding along high-voltage wires to unleashing devastating explosions. The freedom of movement and action turns every corner into a new opportunity to show off your skills. What really stands out is the moral choice system, where the player can follow a heroic path or embrace chaos. Each decision alters the narrative and how the city reacts, even changing the development of abilities. This adds an extra layer of depth to the game, making each playthrough unique and engaging. The battles are electrifying, with fluid combat and visual effects that leave anyone in awe. Beyond the powers and intense action, the game builds an atmosphere of constant tension, where the protagonist deals with the consequences of their actions. The soundtrack and visual details further enrich this journey, creating gameplay that holds your attention and challenges the player to explore their own limits. Continuing, we have Splinter Cell: Conviction, a game that brings a new perspective to the espionage and action genre. Here, the approach is more aggressive and direct, without losing the stealthy essence of the series. The protagonist now has an enhanced set of abilities, turning him into a true execution machine, always on the prowl, ready to strike with surgical precision. The Mark and Execute system stands out, allowing the player to mark multiple targets and eliminate them in a quick and lethal sequence. This, combined with the shadows and the black and white vision indicating when the character is hidden, brings constant tension to each level. The missions are diverse, ranging from silent infiltrations to frantic chases, keeping the game's pace always intense. Urban settings and the play of light and shadow are crucial to the gameplay, adding an atmosphere of mystery and danger. Every corner can hide a threat or an opportunity, making the player think and act strategically. A true lesson in how to combine action and stealth in an engaging and twist-filled gameplay. And I want to hear from you. Which of these games have you played, and what did you think of them? And of course, if you know of any game that should have made it onto this list but ended up being left out, leave it in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the Play Hunters channel and activate notifications to stay on top of all the news and releases in the gaming world. I'm also leaving a card with a video about the best old games that rival or even surpass current games. Check it out. I'm sure you'll like it. A big hug, and see you tomorrow.